listening to the Energy is Love podcast.
This is the very first Wednesday episode of the Energy is Love podcast. Coming up.
We calling it a Wacky Wednesday or Hump Day?
I don't think we're calling it either of those things. This is your second episode this week. If you are brand new to the podcast, maybe this is the first episode you've ever listened to, and then you're like, what? What are they talking about?
Hump Day. What?
Hump Day. So yeah, every week, 2 episodes. And this is the second one this week. So this is the first. This is the first of the second.
This is the second episode
of the podcast in 2022. So it's a bunch of doubling this year, right? Everything's just going to double in size. My dick, your boobs.
I was gonna say, damn, let's go, girls.
Everything's just doubling up.
I'm going out tonight.
You're cute. Right off the bat, in this episode as well, we are going to talk about the new Matrix. So just be warned, I'll give you plenty of heads up when it comes up so that you are aware of the potential for spoiler alerts, because we are going to talk frankly about it. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, I apologize. That's your fault, not mine. And then also, there's a funny thing that I wanted to mention.
There's a funny, like right now or later in the show?
I guess right now.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Something funny's coming out.
No, I told you about it earlier. It's kind of one of those things that, we had a bunch of clips with our year-end episode last year, right?
Yes.
And one of the clips we joked about porn on, we didn't joke about porn. But porn is not a joking matter.
We take our porn very seriously.
That's leading me down a bunch of rabbit holes. I do take porn a little seriously sometimes.
Okay, we're going to stick with the one funny topic, though, about our last episode talking about...
Yeah, we had a clip.
Yes.
And the title of the clip was Pornhub Podcast?
I believe so.
Was that what it was?
I believe so. I know Pornhub was...
Yeah, anyways, it was...
It was Pornhub Podcast.
I think that was the title of the clip. We should know, right? Yeah, it was titled Pornhub Podcast. So it goes up on our Clips channel. By the way, if you're not following us on our Clips channel on YouTube, you need to do that. I upload it. Everything seems to be fine. And then a little bit later, I see that they have restricted it. So it's an age-restricted video. I don't know if you're aware of this. You might be. But I wasn't aware of it until not super recently. I don't remember. Anyways, YouTube will restrict some of their content for 18 and older. And the way that they get around that is you have to log in to your YouTube account in order to watch this, right? So we are logged into our YouTube accounts, right? So we can watch it because we're logged in. So it's age restricted in that sense. And the only thing that is unique about that clip, the episode, the only thing unique about that clip, I keep wanting to say clit.
I know, that's all I hear.
Is Pornhub in the title.
Right?
Yeah,
they were like, no, how did Pornhub get here?
Yeah, that's it. That's all that's unique about it, right? The word Pornhub is in the title, and then the thumbnail for the clip has the Pornhub logo on it.
And then they said,
and they restrict it. And I think it's such a, I think that is a very good example of how fucked we are. Because if they think that that's helping anything, first off, right, it's a joke, right? That doesn't help anything. Suddenly, I'm 18 or I'm only 17. I'm not going to watch this clip, right?
You mean I have to log in?
Yeah. So it's not.
Mom, what's my password?
They're not stopping anybody from watching it. And secondly, we have way worse clips. We have clips where we talk about all sorts of very frank and real conversations about
kids listening to
sex
that.
And porn and everything, right?
I'm starting to have some guilt.
Don't have any guilt.
I'm having some
That's
guilt.
not the point of this.
I know. That's what's happening.
I just think it's a joke.
Don't listen.
I think it's a joke. I thought it was a joke. It's pissing me off.
It is a joke. I'm sorry.
It's silly.
It is silly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes. It's like the porn sites where you just have to there's a disclaimer and you just have to, yes, I know.
That's only for Utah.
And you just have to click that you're 18. That's only for Utah?
Did you know that? I'm sure there's probably other states.
Is it because...
But when I used to travel,
You would never have to click it if you weren't in Utah.
Nope. You go to another state
All
and watch
the porn
porn.
all the time. I don't
And you
even
don't
have
have
to
to click.
verify. I can
So
just,
if you're not from Utah, when you go to a porn website, no matter what it is, there's a warning that comes up, and you have to acknowledge that you're at least 18 years old.
I didn't know that.
Isn't that
I
ridiculous?
mean, I didn't know that it was. I mean, I knew that. I didn't know that it was a Utah thing.
Yeah, it's totally a Utah thing.
Wow.
How dumb is that?
There's a lot of unique things.
This state is
about the state.
amazingly beautiful.
It's
And it's
It is
full of a
visual.
bunch of fucking stupid people.
Yeah.
Right? It is.
It's pretty intense.
It's ignorance,
Pretty intense.
naivety. It's
Cruelty. I don't even think it's. I mean, there is that to a point, but there is like intended fuckery.
yeah.
So
Yeah. So go watch our Pornhub clip. And we're still
on
on
YouTube, not Pornhub. We're not on Pornhub
yet.
yet.
We're on the fence still.
Are we? No.
Yeah, we haven't decided.
Well,
what
I
are
don't
we going to
know.
do.
Will they block all our stuff if they find out that we're on Pornhub?
Maybe. And then hardcore fans are going to have to go to Pornhub to watch.
We will be helping porn lovers everywhere. I'm just listening to the podcast.
Right?
That's all. I'm just listening. I go to
I
porn.
think it's a great idea.
I go to Pornhub for the podcast.
That's
Do you,
me.
did you hear it? Do you remember the
I don't.
Playboy for the articles?
Yeah, but that's why
That used
I
to be a
actually
thing
go.
back in the day.
That's why I go to Pornhub.
Is actually for
It's for the blogs.
for the blogs, because
I just
we
read the
both we
blogs.
remember I tried to find podcasts on Pornhub, and we both looked at my phone and realized that's not what I found.
Yeah, we had to get you a new phone. That one was too dirty.
It was pretty dirty.
It could not be cleaned.
There's a couple of times that it was like, whoa. And not in the good way. That was not a
So ask me.
Ask you.
Yeah, pretend like. Is that not what you like to do?
Whenever you're like, ask me a question, I'm like, I'm
gonna give you the
have
topic.
any. Okay.
So you're going to interview me about what I thought about The Matrix.
Okay, Craig.
Because Stephanie slept through portions of it.
Just portions. I was tired. Just portions.
We watched it during
as
the
m-
Christmas break.
We did.
And yeah.
It was at night. See, I'm tired. Okay, Craig.
Oh, hello.
So, I believe
Yes,
that you are a huge Matrix fan
that is true.
and that you were beyond excited for this next release.
Yes.
And you've watched it.
Yes.
Tell me, Craig, what did you think? What did you feel?
Bum. I was very excited when I found out that they were coming out with a new one. I was ecstatic. It was a huge movie for me growing up for all the different reasons, right? And I told you, I know I did, at some point leading up to this new one, the Matrix Resurrection, or is it Resurrections?
Erections?
Baby,
Matrix erections?
you're in the sex.
Only on Pornhub. I have a black leather
Resurrections.
trench. Jesus, right there. I can put on that black leather. Should we put on trench coats?
Do you
while
have a black leather trench coat?
I do.
Oh my goodness. I think I got rid of mine.
Did you?
Yeah.
I got one right there.
Anyways, like long story short, because we're getting all over the place, Stephanie and I are Trinity and Neo. Like we did not, I mean, we knew that, but we didn't know that other people knew it. And it turns out they made not just one movie. Turns out like the whole series is about us.
My long ass hair is just a mask.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way I'm presenting myself. In
It's just
this
how you're
realm.
showing up in the Matrix.
So you don't know that I'm Trinity, really.
Yeah.
And this fat ass.
You got a great ass.
Do you? I meant PHAT.
Yes. I loved it.
Yeah.
Parts of it.
Yeah.
I loved things about it.
You love things.
I'm still on the fence about some other things.
Well, you were leading into, you said at the beginning.
Yeah, trigger alert.
Trigger.
Here's some spoilers in regards to the Matrix. I didn't know what to expect. I did a good job of I didn't want I didn't want any information going in. I didn't want to know what the story was about. I watched the trailers and just left it at that. And there was so much to kind of be there's a lot to kind of complain about.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that really isn't that good about it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that kind of sucked. However, there was a lot that was cool,
Yeah.
right? there wasn't any new groundbreaking, amazing effects or, do you know what I mean? Anything like that. I was kind of hoping that maybe they had done some new visual effect that was going to blow our minds that we had never seen before, but I don't know. I think those days might be over.
You think we've maxed out on visual effects?
Well, I think the next evolution of what's going to blow our mind is VR.
Okay.
I think that's going to be the
Everything's
next
going to be
thing.
VR?
Yeah.
VR is going to kill everyone. Hear me out.
Okay.
Have you not seen every single video ever, every reel?
Okay.
Somebody gets hurt because they get scared. They run into a wall. They fall off of something. It is like, that is how we're going to be taken out by VR.
Yeah. That would be
They're
hilarious.
just going to be walking and boom, 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 boom.
How cool would that movie have been
VR?
if we were in it, like in VR? How cool would it have been then?
Maybe I would have stayed awake.
That would have been the difference, right?
Maybe.
Because like if you're sitting there following along and you're not necessarily like a character, you're just in the world. So it's not like Neo looks over to you and he's like, Craig, what should we do next?
Remember, you are Neo.
Did you hear my Keanu?
That was so good.
Greg, I've got to go back.
You've got to slow
Back
it down.
to the Matrix.
Back to the Matrix. You gotta...
No, like, so I was hoping for some amazing visual effect that we hadn't seen before. Didn't get it.
Okay. Strike one.
I was hoping for like a really good reason to make a new movie.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of didn't get it.
Okay.
Like the story wasn't just like, oh my God, I can see the importance of why this needed to be made in regards to not just the story of the Matrix, but also like, there wasn't a lot of that.
Okay.
Right? Was hoping for some action. Yes, there was action, but it wasn't anything, next level.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was the same fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like that was the kind of problem that I had, was they basically just did the same movie over again. Except this time they just kind of had fun telling it from, Neo flashing back and remembering this scene and that scene. And then him and Trinity are actually back in the Matrix and they don't remember themselves, but he is remembering himself. And maybe Trinity remembers herself, but not really. And she's got kids and like all of this is going on. And I'm just like, this is the same fucking movie. Do you know what I mean? And they even recreated scenes with new characters, just different characters. So
That's
it's like
right.
Neo wakes up in the Nebuchadnezzar. Oh, it's not the Nebuchadnezzar though. He just wakes up in the, whatever the fucking, the name of this one is, right? The Heezer. I don't know what the fucking name it was.
Nebuchadnezzar.
The Nebuchadnezzar was the name of the ship. That was the name of Morpheus's ship.
Who knows that?
Anybody that's seen the Matrix 15
I've seen
times
the
knows
Matrix.
that.
Nebuchadnezzar
Was the name of Morpheus's ship.
Wow. How do you have this information?
Baby.
Okay. I'm just like,
Over 10 times
I hear
in the theater.
Nebuchadnezzar Scrooge.
That's
Ebenezer.
Ebenezer.
I know, but do you hear it?
Yes.
Nebuchadnezzar. Ebenezer.
I don't hear it. So none of those things happened.
Okay.
I didn't get any of the things that I was hoping to get. What I did get, however,
What did you get?
was some nostalgia,
Oh, that's good.
right? I did like how they handled Morpheus's character.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Okay. I kind of
I liked that. I thought that was fun. I did like...
I would have been much happier to see Morpheus.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been cool to see Morpheus.
It would have
but
been. I might have stayed awake for that too.
I don't know what old Lawrence Fishburne's doing these days. I did, however, like... but I'm a romantic at heart, right? So the love
Yes, you
story...
are.
Like the love story is always going to get me.
Yeah.
Every movie that has a love story, I'm that character, right?
Yeah.
Like every movie that I ever see that's got a love story, it's like it sucks me right in. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm that character and you're the woman. So they had me at
Did they have you hello?
They had me at Welcome Back to the Matrix. No, what is it?
Nebuchadnezzar.
Welcome to the Matrix. No.
No, that's to the Rock.
Yeah.
Where
We're
am
getting
I
our
at?
movies crossed.
All right.
That's Sean Connery.
Ding, ding.
Welcome to the Rock.
That's very good. That sounded like
So
a
that was
clip.
one thing that I did like.
Okay.
But there was a lot I didn't like.
Yeah.
I am going to go back and watch it again.
Are you?
Probably 3 or 4 times. It's
Sounds like you hated it.
Because I know there's going to be stuff that I can pick up on that I didn't see before.
That's you.
I know my phone went off.
It wasn't me, peeps. It wasn't me.
Do you have
It wasn't me.
a quick synopsis?
You came up with that song. Do I have a quick synopsis? No, but I do have something to point out.
Okay, but I got to sneeze.
Okay.
Go ahead and point it out.
I'll
I
wait
sneeze. Oh, no. Go ahead.
You're cute.
I will sneeze towards the...
I know, and then you you managed to... Oh, no.
Okay.
I remember, like, somebody, I don't know who.
Keep going. These sneezes are just going to keep
just
coming.
waiting.
Oh, my goodness.
Mention...
Okay. I hope we're done.
I don't know why that was so funny. It was. You can have some of mine.
Oh, my goodness.
There you go.
Got some garlic. We had garlic bread for dinner.
We had garlic in
I think I
our
got
spaghetti
garlic in my
squash
nose.
and garlic in our spaghetti sauce.
Okay, go ahead.
Toast. Okay. You were asked by somebody, like, what if it isn't a good movie? What if it's not good? And
You?
was it? I wouldn't put that to the universe. I don't know who that was. It wasn't me.
Okay.
Somebody else that
Shall not be named.
may be me. Trinity. Rhymes with Stephanie. It was Trinity. You said it didn't matter because the first one was so profound it didn't even matter.
Yeah.
And now you're like, dude, this movie. So does it matter?
In what way?
And in the matter way, does it matter?
Are we talking about gray matter or
No.
dark matter?
You are changing.
I think that it...
You can change your mind. You can say that it didn't matter because you knew it was going to be good, and then you were let down.
Well, it's like
It's okay.
somebody that you're already behind the ball when you're going to make a new Matrix movie, right? Like there is no way to make that movie and make maybe like 50% of the people happy. There's going to be a bigger chunk of people that are upset and or don't like that film than there is people that do like that film. Go ahead.
I think they would have already figured that out with Matrix 2 and 3, that maybe making it again was just not working.
The 2 and the 3 were good.
Did you like them?
Yeah.
I don't really remember them.
Yeah.
I know I watched 2, but I don't have much memory of it. And
Well, you don't even remember the Nebuchadnezzar, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, who does? Like, wow. I didn't learn Millennium Falcon till like 3 years ago, so that one you just said it enough and you like brought it up enough during the shows and I was like, oh,
The Millennium Falcon.
okay.
I remember Top Gun.
Crap,
Did you like the love story? You liked the love story
I
part,
did
right?
like the love
You're
story
a sucker
part.
romantic for love stories too.
I liked the Matrix more than you did.
You think so?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I don't know because I'll watch it again, but probably not 2 or 3 times. Like I'd watch it one more time.
Yeah.
But I was also really confused because, like I said, I don't think I've seen the third one, and so it kind of threw me for a little bit.
Yeah, I probably should have gone back and watched the third one.
Yeah. Should we do that?
Maybe.
Should we do 1, 2, 3, and then
4?
Ooh. What's happening?
That's a day and a half right there.
Glasses got stuck in the headphones.
Yeah. We watched all 4 back to back again.
We don't have to do it. We
Back
can
to back.
Why?
Wake up at 6. Watch them all.
Who?
Who does that? This guy.
Okay, I was about to say only awesome people do that.
Do you ever... I mean, I know that we have watched, but like before me.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. So BC, before Craig. Did you... I'm not comparing myself to Christ. That just was convenient and that was funny. I got so many funny things to say.
You are funny.
Remember, I got to tell my pussy joke?
Yes, it's on my list. But what were you going to say? Have I ever before Craig?
Oh, yeah. Before Craig, did you have movie marathons where you would watch movies all day long? I mean, like, all day.
Well, I've been a teenager, so I'm pretty sure, that has happened. But, like, with intent, like, I'm going to sit down and watch these movies. I think we've only done that with Lord of the Rings.
So you didn't do it before Craig?
No.
You didn't have movie marathons?
So. No, I don't think so.
I've done, like, the Lord of the Rings movie marathon multiple times.
No. Wow. That one was getting too much for me. It was so long. but it was good. I got, I'd never seen them. I'd never seen The Lord of the Rings. So where you watched all of them, I feel like I probably did with Superman.
The old school ones? Christopher Reeves?
Absolutely, Christopher Reeves.
Has there been another good Superman?
No. Well, I don't know.
Do you like Henry?
I do like Henry. I don't know how great his acting is. I don't know. I really can't. I'm just kidding.
You just like that one scene when he gets out of the water.
That's a good scene. I like Henry. I do. I'm thinking I'm going to start watching The Witcher.
Just so you can... Yeah, but he's got like that crappy hair in it.
Oh, I'm not really a fan of the hair, but I just want to see. Like maybe he doesn't have clothes on.
Maybe he doesn't have clothes on. Does he have nude scenes in that?
I don't know. We should find out. Let's do a movie marathon. I'm sitting here like Lord of the Rings. I'm not taking into account Netflix. We have had many marathons.
That's true.
We have binged some seasons.
But the question was before Craig.
I know. I don't know. Yes, I have. Stevie and I have watched a lot of Barbie.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You were into
But no, I don't think so.
Oh God, fucking Grays. You were into Grays before.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, you've been into some really good shows.
So we have to shut up. So we've done series, but I don't think movies. We've watched a lot of Barbie with Stevie.
Yeah. I love the movie marathon.
Yeah?
Yeah, like knowing that like, oh, we're going to sit down and we're going to devote the day to watching all of these shows makes me so happy.
Really? It makes my brain like, fuck.
Really?
All day we're just going to be watching movies.
Yes.
And then I'm going to want to ask questions or talk and you're going to get mad. Like, you're not going to want me to sit here. How do you expect me to go all day without talking?
Because you're watching a movie.
Wow.
Movies aren't designed for talking.
There are two pipes.
That would be like talking during a podcast. Like, let's try to have a conversation right now.
And As opposed to what? What are we doing?
Here I am. What's this?
We're not just
What's
sitting
that?
here giving each other handies.
What's this story about? Did you say handy? I like movies. What'd you have for dinner? See, that's annoying. Nobody wants talking during a podcast. I have something really profound.
Really profound? Okay.
Steph and I were in the bath today. And I had awareness that we are doing this thing because it's like, okay, let's see if I can get this out.
I believe in you.
I believe. Can't sing that song anymore. Isn't that an R. Kelly song?
That is.
Cannot sing about flying away. Anyways, we do this thing where we support each other. And I'm going to try to explain it as best as I can. So what it was you were talking about your astrology. Mm-hmm. And you were talking about the classes and you were talking about all the stuff that you're learning. And I'm just listening. And I'm just loving hearing all the stuff that you're like currently interested in and all the stuff that you're like passionate about and excited about. And it's like you're doing it every day and you're really, really digging it and you're really, really liking it. And I like listening to you talk about the things that you're passionate about. And I do have some times where stuff will pop up into my head or I want to ask you something. And of course I do ask you the questions and sometimes like that. But the majority of the time, like we get into these flows where we just listen to each other, talk about what we're passionate about. And then when you were finished, I started talking about stuff that I'm passionate about. We're creating a lot of content for the podcast right now. And I'm like knee deep in all of it and I'm really enjoying it. And I have different ideas of what we can do and what we're going to do. And all these kind of things are coming out in this creative time period. So I was talking about that. And then I just realized how different that is than like any other relationship that I have. I don't have any other relationship with somebody where they will listen to me talk about what I'm passionate about and just hear me. Do you know what I mean? Everybody else is waiting for their turn to talk as opposed to listening. And I realized that you and I have done a really good job of getting to the point where we listen to each other instead of just waiting for our turn to talk. Because I remember during our relationship, periods of time, like I can remember what it felt like to listen to you and just be waiting for my turn to talk. Do you know what I mean? Like that kind of sounds, I think, like a douche, but I can just remember that feeling of like you're talking about something and I was like I was just waiting to tell you what I think or tell you what I, am interested in or tell you, what I know about astrology or whatever it is. And I can remember that feeling. And so today it was just the awareness that's like, oh, I don't have that feeling anymore. Excuse me. Not only that, but like we both just listened so well to each other. And I don't think we've definitely cultivated that over the course of, over the course of our relationship. But the idea of really being able to actively listen to each other and engage and hear and be present and also like supportive and excited. You know what I mean? I hate talking to people. Like, hate may be too strong of a word. I really fucking hate when somebody asks you a question and then does not listen to you fucking answer it. Do you know what I mean? I hate that. And when somebody asks me a question and I can tell immediately that they aren't listening to me, like, what does it matter? Right? I don't care. I'm not there to, like, what is the point of me answering your question if you're not going to listen? Why the fuck did you even ask me that question? And then I turn around and I ask you a question and then I listen. And they still don't.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people like that. What do you think, baby? How well do you think you actively listen?
I think I have ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys. I think I do pretty well at it. And then there's times that I don't. But I've definitely
Do you feel like it's
grown from that.
an improvement?
I do.
Can you notice it?
I don't think I had awareness of it, but you're bringing a lot of awareness of it. And now that I have awareness of it, yeah, I can see it. It is an improvement. I like that. I mean, I don't do it all the time.
Yeah.
There's definitely times when I'm like, I got something to say.
I struggle in doing it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we sit down to record, I have a hard time actively listening because I'm like really focused on a bunch of different things, as well as like not having to listen to you, but like like actively listening to you.
Because she's still
and
going.
then also thinking about what I'm going to say next, so that the conversation flows back and forth and has some quote unquote content, even though our best stuff is just us, right?
Yeah, but you make sense too.
Do I?
I mean, it's not like we're just sitting here without any of this, without any intention of where this is going. Like, this isn't an afterthought. Like, our intention here is to record a podcast.
Yeah.
To put content out there. There's a lot that has to be done. And it has to, like, that engaging that flow. Before, you had to work the entire time. I'd sit here and not be able to talk. And you were like constantly, I was so scared. So you're just like, you're hosting, yes, we're co-hosts, but you are producing everything. You've got to keep it going. So I think you can cut yourself some slack if you're not actively listening. I mean, you listen enough to remember what I just got done saying when I don't. And I'm like, where am I? And then you'll remind me. I'm like, that's what I was saying. So you active listen to me better than I active listen to me. So you're good.
How funny is that? Do you actively listen to yourself? What do you mean? Like, do you really listen when you talk? Oh. No, I get lost a lot. I don't remember things. Like it's like I walk into the room of this conversation. I'm like, I don't know what I'm saying in here.
Who are these people?
Turn around and walk out.
Why did I come in here?
That's funny. It's an important skill.
Yeah.
I think it is I just had such a deep awareness of it today, and it hit me in such a way that I not just had gratitude for you and for us and what we've been able to accomplish, but I realized what you listening to me made me feel. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that was a really big deal, because it was like realizing that you listen to me and hear me and care about what I'm saying and are excited about like what I'm passionate about, even though it may not be something that you're super into or interested in, right? But yet you actually listen and you care. And having that from you, like being in the role of receiving that type of attention and love, made me feel so good. it just made me feel so special. I just feel so special and loved and cared about. And it makes me like excited to tell you more. Like it makes me excited to explore. It's almost like I have to go out and find more cool things to come back and tell you about because of how good it feels when you just actively listen and hear me. It's really neat. So thank you.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with me.
It feels good to be heard, doesn't it?
It feels good to be heard.
Yeah. And like really, really heard and seen. Right. Every now and then you'll ask. Sometimes my favorite's when you talk to me when I'm busy working. That happened today in the kitchen. I think you were in the middle of this like legitimate conversation with me. And I'm just like, baby.
I've got to focus.
I got to type this email. You got to be quiet.
And then I could. Then I was like, oh.
Yeah. But it feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's give some tips.
Okay.
Let's put just the tip in.
Just the tip.
And what would be
just
your tip and tits? That's a good bar.
Yeah.
Oh
Tip and tits.
That's a good bar name. That's actually going to be the name of this episode.
Tips and tits.
Anyways.
I'm going to get age restricted again.
I know, right? You can't say anything on YouTube anymore. That's okay. Go to Rumble. Everything's hardcore on Rumble. Tips and tricks.
Yes.
Some advice for active listening with your partner. What's
Okay.
yours? Lay it on us, baby.
Well, first thing is, I'm just going to make a joke about shutting your mouth, but no, That's
important.
Remember, they're not telling the story or saying the things that you're expecting to hear. They're sharing their experience. So you got to hear it like you haven't already heard the story, because you haven't. What? Why are you laughing at me?
No, I like, because he tells a lot of the same stories over and over again.
That is not what I meant.
I know. I'm just teasing you.
I mean, people see they see other people as them. No, like their behaviors and their actions are interpreted by what that would mean if you did it. Your behaviors and your actions.
Okay.
So there's a lot where you're viewing people as individuals, but you're viewing them through like your eyes, your standards, your experiences. So yeah, you understand that people are different, but how you interpret people is like through all of your filters. And so just kind of being aware of like they have their own set of filters. They are an individual that's separate from you. They're going to say things that you have. Even when you predict what they're saying, because they're saying the same things over again, I will throw it out there. Their feelings, like it is not what you are feeling. So you have to get curious. So just try that. Get curious. See if you can feel them, what they're saying, what they're expressing to you. And one of the tricks that I do when, like, I don't have to do it with you, but when you don't want to be listening, but you have to pay attention, is you like repeat what they're saying in your head, but like a second after. So say with me, and I'll try and explain it how I would do it. So say like a second after.
Like a second after.
Do you have how I'm like right after? So I'm like hearing your words, I'm repeating
like
it.
A second
like a
after.
second. I wasn't ready for you to do it, but I'm like right
a
there
second
after. Damn it. I joined you. You know what I mean? Think about around when you're like, row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat.
Only faster, because otherwise you're just going to get lost trying to play catch up. So when you have other thoughts, coming in your brain.
Coming tits, boobs, pussy, come.
You know how your brain can wander off.
Come, baby, come.
This is good. Let me finish it. And then you can go back to your hot stepper. You have the other thoughts going in your head. You've been distracted because, you know, your thoughts are going elsewhere. But if you're focusing your thoughts on their words, and so you're repeating it, that's where your attention is. So it's an exercise to actively listen. Works really good in school or things like that. If you're just like, oh my God, bosses, paying attention.
I think it would help in relationships too. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And
I find it easier in relationships though.
Yeah. But also like that tip, I think, is a good tip. And it doesn't have to be for things that are difficult to listen to. You can also incorporate it if you're practicing active listening with your partner from like that positive standpoint of like, this is a thing and I want to get better at listening to you. Yeah. And so I want to get better at hearing you and seeing you. So I'm going to practice this thing.
What do you think? So yeah, absolutely. Are you doing it right now?
No.
Oh, really? I could caught myself because I practice it so much. It's like
Really?
a subconscious thing, but when I need to, right? So now that I brought it to the surface right there, I'm hearing double Craig. We're doubling everything.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
My goodness. First off, make sure you have a conversation with your partner before you like agree that you're going to start active listening. Because if you just try to do it and your partner isn't aware that you're like
Paying attention to them.
trying to do this thing. Because I mean, think about it not from the
Like-
perspective of like me just as the individual wants to get better at hearing people. Yes, that's a good thing. But I want our relationship to grow through really hearing each other and connecting and actively listening. So it has to be something that we're both on the same page with. Otherwise, I'm over here being like hearing everything that you're saying and like really actively listening. And then I would expect the same from you. And when you don't give that to me because you're not aware of that we're on that page, then I get hurt and I get frustrated. And I'm like, God, I listen to her all the time and I try really hard to actively listen. And then I tell her and she just doesn't even pay attention to me and she walks away. Do you know what I mean?
That's one point of view.
Yes.
It is. It's Craig's point of view.
What's your counter?
My counter. Like that's a point of view and that's a possibility. Absolutely. But what if you actively listening is what shifts the conversation dynamic? So all of a sudden your partner, whoever you're actively listening with, is feeling heard and they're able to start engaging because they're like, oh, what I'm saying is actually mattering. You're actually hearing me. You might just be setting the scene and then they join with you. And if not, then have a conversation. Hey, I've been doing this thing.
You know what's funny?
What?
This is actually really funny. This is one that I got to put down the timestamp.
Okay, here we go.
Because it's really funny. I think what we just displayed, like in one of the most truest sense, was the male-female perspective. Because the reason I brought that up is like, first off, make sure that you do this thing right before you do anything else, is because I think it's really important that you communicate clearly to men. That's an overgeneralization, I understand, and all the different variables that, not everybody is the same. But I could see a woman having this active conversation with her husband and trying all of these techniques and really trying to engage, hoping that he will come around, and then him not even being aware that they're talking, right? That something is happening. And then 2 weeks later, she's like, God, then you have that conversation of like, I've been trying to do this thing, and you don't ever listen, So it's like, just ask. It's like real clear up front. Hey, I really want to try to do this thing. And I'm hoping you'll join me, and I'm hoping that we can practice it together.
When I feel hurt, I like to give oral. So they will like not notice, like I made that non-binary. Anyone's going to be like, I'm paying attention to you.
Doesn't that make sense though?
It does.
So I think, but then your counter, I think, is the very feminine way of approaching it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, just try it and maybe they'll come around. Like if you do it, right?
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
That's a Kevin Costner thing.
And sometimes you just got to say, hey, let's try this thing together and talk, right?
Not always. I winked. You've come around on my womanly influence.
Your womanly ways. I think I'm definitely communicating more like a woman.
I think we're communicating like people who care about each other and what they have to say.
Yeah, like I said, woman. No, I think we're doing a much better job.
Yeah.
We both are. Your communication has massively improved.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, so much. So much so. Yeah, your ability to just express yourself, but also, I mean, very rarely now, whereas it used to be on the regular, very rarely do you kind of get stuck in your words and unable to speak. And that used to be just kind of how you communicated. You had a difficult time really expressing and getting stuff out, and you would get frustrated and stuck. And then that was like the snowball process that would happen, and it would just get worse and worse, and you get more angry, which would then turn around and shut you down more and like just inhibit this voice that you have inside. And that happens far less than it ever has before. So I think that's pretty cool.
I Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That was fun to feel and be like, oh, that's true. That's all true. And just feel that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I'm
If you-
pretty happy about that.
If you had to pick one thing that contributed to that, what would it be?
Our love, baby. Always. Our love.
Your dick. Your dick
MDMA.
made that better.
I think it's therapy.
You think so?
Yeah. I think it's all the stuff that I'm going through and the just a combination of all the extensive healing that we are, or just maybe not even healing. We're healing through understanding. Like, we're not changing anything. We're just having more understanding, different perspectives, more to see, like our vision is expanding so we can see cause and effects and other options. Like, there's options. You don't have to do it this way. You get to do it all this way, kind of thing. So it's all of our mind expanding stuff, I think, is really helping. We've been working hard.
Yeah, we have.
And our love, baby.
And our love.
Especially when you roll your... Hey, I'm doing this thing where I'm just kidding.
I'm actively listening.
You were like,
Turn right to, oh, you're doing this thing.
I'm like, oh, you say...
Speak directly to me, please. Yes. I maybe in a subconscious way, I'm bringing that up as a way to like highlight that. And I don't have to do that subconsciously. I can just express that to you. You don't speak to me clearly. Sometimes.
I was like, you just got done making me feel good about being able to speak now. And you're like, you.
That's true.
Okay. Well.
No.
I feel like I'm being pulled in two different directions. Continue. I don't understand. I don't speak clearly to you.
No. This is me modeling your behavior.
Okay.
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 Because you have shown me how to speak your needs.
Okay.
So oftentimes you will communicate to me, hey, I really need this.
Yes.
That was behavior, or that was, you showed me how to do that. I did not do that.
Okay.
So I've been practicing that more and more and more because you've been doing that more and more and more. And I've been trying to emulate it and trying to practice it of like, this is what I need. This is a need of mine right now because of X, Y, and Z. There are times, not all the time, but maybe you remember we were talking earlier, not on this podcast, but in the bathroom, about I'm sorry and saying I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And how there are just times when it's not going to be heard by me, right? If I'm activated, and there's a different approach that's going to be beneficial for me. So when I am activated, I need things to be very clear and like no gray. So if I ask you, what do you want? And there's like two options or whatever, right? Or if it's like, hey, we've got this for dinner or that for dinner, or when I'm activated, the clearer you can communicate to me during those times, the calmer it makes me. Because when things aren't clear, I have to make a decision. And it's really hard for me to make a decision when I'm activated and I'm in a fight or flight. So what can help me, because I can feel the anxiety now inside of me of having to ask you things, knowing that I'm going to get a response that isn't clear. Because it's so hard for me to make decisions when I'm activated. So if you have awareness of that and you can tell that I'm like in a place, right? The clearer you can speak to me and the clearer you can communicate to me, the easier it is for me. And I think that's a really good way for you to help me, I guess, in those activated moments. That was hard to express. Are you okay?
Yes, you expressed it well.
Okay. I didn't trigger you?
No, that conversation did not trigger me.
Did something else?
Oh, I'm not triggered.
Okay.
But the way you handled that conversation, like there's things in those dynamics that are triggering for me, and it's hard. So I have been working on doing that, and I've been doing better at that. There's times I can, but there's another dynamic when you're activated that you're not aware of as much as I'm aware of. So that's a triggering thing, but I can hear you, and I'm like, this is really
What's
like
the other thing?
Your point of view. Like, you just gave me like, this is what it feels like for you. So I can hear that better, and having that information, knowing that this is your point of view. This is how you see this situation. It's like, then when I'm triggered by things that you don't see in that environment, I can know that and not be like, because I will shut down for that. It feels to me, my point of view is that when you're activated, you make every decision, and it is an intense thing. And if a decision is asked, you already know what you want. And so if I don't pick that, it's going to be more stressful. And then you're angry and you're more activated. And it's not like, you're not like scary angry. Like, you don't like run around shouting and slap. Well, you kind of slap things sometimes, but it's not like this, like, over the top anger, but it's like, man, you can feel it. You can feel it. It is intense. With that, it's not a scary anger, but it is a felt anger. And then that makes it really hard, because I'm like, I don't know what to choose. And you're like, you want me to choose? I'm like, fuck, here it goes. And it's just, it scares me because of my past. So then I have reactions to that, which again makes me not able to answer or choose, because I don't know what the right choice is. So I can see my point of view is past trauma, past, what is it? Past stories like appearing as reality, something like that.
What's that stand for?
It's not an acronym. It's just like a thing. Like,
okay.
Like
boobs.
Yeah, like boobs.
Just like boobs.
So I can see that that's my point of view. So I saw your point of view, which is, I can't make all these decisions. I'm feeling this and make it. And my point of view is like, this is scary. I have to pick the right decision. If I don't, it's going to get, so just having that conversation is like, So when I'm feeling my point of view and scared in that moment, or activated, or sometimes, triggered, because I'm like, oh, we're going to be an ass right now. Here we go. That'll tell me your point of view. So I went, yeah.
Somebody did not mute their phone for the podcast. That somebody's name is Craig. I didn't interrupt you.
No, you didn't.
And I wanted to.
Okay.
Because you said something, and then I had a thought, but I made a conscious choice to not interrupt you, because we had some not too distant episodes, very recent episodes, where it was like, dude, you've got to stop interrupting me. And then I'd be like, can I interrupt you now? So I'm going to make I am doing a better job at that. Slamming things. The other day when I was just having a terrible day, and the day that I changed the oil and went and ran errands and things like that. And I came home and I was slamming stuff, slamming the door. I walked in, and I had awareness of why I do that. It was like this subconscious thing of, because I'm in so much pain inside that not just I'm angry at the pain that's inside, but I think all of the outward expression of that anger and the slamming, the things like that, is it's my safety mechanism to push people away, right? So like the core, I don't know if coping mechanism is the right word, but so Craig feels pain, usually physical pain, no, right? Physical pain I'll just take, but really difficult, hard emotional pain. And surprise, surprise, I had some really extremely difficult, hard emotional pain come up over the Christmas break. And I was hurting. And so when Craig feels that way, his default mode is to push everybody away, because that's how I would protect myself. So I remember being very scared and afraid and feeling like emotionally in pain, and like having to hide that, and like, running to my room and crying and hiding and all these kind of different things. So I have to push everybody away so that they don't see that part of me, so that I'm not exposed. So the more I can slam things, the louder I can like stomp around the house, the more I can just make it abundantly clear that I want to be left alone, is just my way of protecting myself from being seen. But it's so counter, right? Because there's definitely probably a component in there too where there's been times where it's like, oh, I'm going to make a big fuss because I need attention right now. But I think much more common for me is the opposite, where I don't want to be seen, so I'm going to be as big and as scary as I can be. So then that way I'll be left alone and nobody will see me in my pain and in my sorrow. And I don't like doing things that way. I realized when I came in the house that day and I slammed the door as I came in, nobody was like, I don't know where you guys were, but you may not have even been in the house. No, you guys were, because you hadn't gone anywhere.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was weird because I had this moment where I'm like, why did I slam the door? Like I'm not necessarily mad in the moment, but I'm sitting there just processing all of the pain internally. I'm thinking about it. I'm mulling it over. I'm going through all of it. I'm seeing different parts of this thing and all these kind of different offshoots. So coming in and slamming the door and making the big noise and pushing everybody away that way, I don't want to do that anymore. I just realized when I did it the other day of how kind of not foolish it is, but it's like not needed. I don't have to hide that pain. But it's really hard.
Yeah.
And even saying that, like, I don't have to hide that pain. Yeah, I do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so hard to receive anything when I'm in that kind of deep emotional pain. Any comfort, any, like, just anything. Like, you want to make me a sandwich.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't do anything, Like, it's so strange. Because all you want to do is help the people that you love when they're hurt like that.
Yeah.
But yet, I can't. It hurts to be helped in those moments. It's so painful. It's so frustrating. So then I get more angry. So then you leave me alone. But all of that behavior and all of that stuff is me just hiding. Isn't that sad?
Yeah.
Like, that's so sad that I had to, been doing that my whole life, babe.
Do you remember some of the things that I said to you that day?
The day
that you're talking about?
No.
I made it a point to tell you a couple of times. I'm sure you remember when I tell you, I want you around. Like, and you're like, I'm just having a, like, tell me it had nothing to do with me. We're just having a fuck of a day. I was like, yes. And even though you're having a shitty day and you're in a really bad mood, I want you around. Don't want you to leave. I want you around. And then just gave you space. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
So I know.
I want to shift that behavior of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm in some deep emotional heartache, pain, I want to be comforted, and I want to be held, and I want to be loved. And sometimes I'll want some solutions.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll just want some, it's going to be okay. So I need to work. I'm working on that. That is something that is currently in the Craig soup. Because it's important. Well, thanks for tuning in to Wednesday's episode of the podcast. Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
We were done. I think that's a good.
I thought about talking about all of that shit that came up for me over the holidays.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what we're going to talk about on the next episode. And then I don't want to yet. I'm scared to talk about it at therapy.
Yeah.
let alone on this podcast. So one day, perhaps. Sorry, folks. Part of the reason why it's the same thing of why I always want to talk about all these hard things is because it will help somebody. Like, I know the stuff that came up for me is common.
Yeah.
And that makes me sad. So I know that there's a lot of people that will be able to relate to it and maybe see it in a way that they haven't seen it before. So I'll talk about it one day, but today is not that day. Okay. We've had so many people comment about our voices and how we have good podcast voices and like soothing voices and all this kind of stuff. And sometimes, a lot of times now, because people have commented on it so much, we'll be talking during these episodes and I'll hear it and I'll be like, I wonder if this is what it is. Is
this my voice that you like?
Perhaps this is the voice.
Is it this one? Is it this one?
Maybe should we be voice actors?
In a world.
That's such a good movie. We gotta go.
It's such a good movie.
Fuck, we're so rambly. Thank you, folks. As always, tell people about the podcast. That's the best way to share it. Also, we'll take all the other kinds of shares on social, tag us and everything. Literally everything.
Everything.
you got new baby photos? Tag us. You got,
we'll comment on your baby photos.
Cat pictures? Tag us. No matter what, if you post something to social media, you need to tag it ELP. That's Energy is Love Podcast. Bum, bum, bum.